are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction cause you hold the power.
Hi there. I'm sorry about my voice. I am still a little bit under the weather. Man flu. Yes, so I'm basically dying here. You have probably seen all the videos on TikTok or in your newsfeed. Smart young guys touting you can get filthy rich, live in Dubai and drive Ferraris all the time. If you just start day trading. Woo! Just to preface with my opinion first. It is possible to make money using other tactics than just the old buy and hold or simple dividend investing. But we still need to remember Buffett's saying, the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Combined with the fact that someone must be willing to sell a stock before you can buy it. And that's where the day traders start. They believe either the momentum is in their favor or the asset is currently mispriced. And that can be true and make you money, a lot of money. The big question is just, is it worth the risk and the time and attention spent doing it? The funny thing is that both the buy and hold person and the day trader, they both have access to the same information, yet they often interpret them differently. Usually because of the following factors. They have different goals and strategies. They have very different risk tolerance and time. One uses a lot of time and energy. The hodler uses very little time and energy. This constant tug of war between buyers and sellers is what sets the share price. When there's balance, the price is stable, but when more people want to buy than sell, prices rise. And when selling overwhelms buying, prices fall. It's an endless dance that keeps markets alive and unpredictable. And this makes day trading possible. Now, I just want to say, I call it day trading, but the way I treat it and do it, it's not really day trading. I trade over a little bit longer time horizon, and I am looking for mispriced assets and momentum. I'm not a high frequency trader and I don't do it day by day. Now, how do I trade? When I need to scratch that itch to do something. Well, firstly, I don't want to spend a lot of time watching candles or other indicators. My approach is keep it simple and find mispriced assets or where momentum goes the way I want it to. Sounds easy, right? Not. As the famous investor Peter Lynch always said, everyone can find information and go from there. So, start with personal observation. The best investment ideas often come from your daily life. Pay attention to the stores you frequent, the products you buy, your family, your co-workers, or the software tools your industry uses. Build a simple story. If you can't explain what the company does or its growth driver in plain English, you're likely not understanding it well enough to invest in it. Do your homework. Observations are just the beginning. The excitement about a product should lead to an in-depth research, not blind enthusiasm. Lynch warned that investing without research is like playing stud poker and never looking at the cards. But let me give you a few examples how I did it. I have a few great companies, 10-15 of them, that I occasionally watch. I'm just looking at the share price and what is going on. Is there momentum up or is there momentum down? These companies are really good companies. They're not just the new shiny toy in town, but they're good earners. Usually I have a good idea of the intrinsic value, or at least I have that gut feeling what an attractive stock price might be. Remember, I could be wrong, so I need a margin of safety. So what did I do? For instance, back in April 2025, when Trump started announcing tariffs against almost all countries, I started clapping in my hands. The great shipping giant A.P. Møller-Mærsk, their stock went down, like so many others at that time. The stock price dropped almost 23% in a few days. Investors across the world were panicking. Tariffs! Nobody would buy anything anymore! As Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful. I knew that Maersk made the majority of their money on shipping and logistics. However, I also knew that only 22% of this came from the US trade. So I had a feeling this was just a short-term panic and the stock would recover when people realized this or when Trump would back down or change the tariffs or something to the effect. And even if this would not be the case, the company is so good and robust and makes a lot of money, they would eventually come back. It would just take some more time. I have the luxury that I can wait. I don't day trade, but I trade in mispricing. My timeline could easily handle 1 to 2 years. My target was around 20% gains. Maybe I got a little lucky here, but I bought the stock at around 9,100 Danish kroner, which is around $1,378 a share. And what do you know? The tariffs talk bounced back up and down, up and down. Sentiment got better and investors came back to the company. It only took a little over a month and the stock price was at almost 13,000 Danish kroner, which is around $1,950. That's a gain of almost 42%. That's fantastic. Unfortunately, I had a small position and I wished I'd made a bigger position, but still, a couple of grand in cash, that's always nice. I had long time been planning how to buy a new car, but I also knew I would need a lot of money for it, as I pay cash for all my cars. So I had around $30,000 in an account waiting for me to get the rest and buy a car. Tesla, of course. However, making 4% in that account, that's not enough for me. And as I can easily wait, a new car was a nice to have, not a need to have. I decided to use that money for another trade. I've had my eye on the Danish drug maker Novo Nordisk for some time, and as they had some terrible press and a lot of issues with the change of management, they were going down like a rock. The all-time high was around $144 per share, which I will admit was way overvalued. But when the stock went below $50 a share, this was back in November 2025, I knew I had my margin of safety. So I bought in at around $47 per share. I usually don't go in guns blazing, so I only used half of my cash for the initial position, as dear Trump again started his saber rattling. This was against Big Pharma, so again Trump came to my rescue. He announced pricing deals with Big Pharma, and one of those was Novo. As soon as this was announced, the stock price went further down, now around $43 per share. So I thought, this is a good opportunity. I bought another load. Now I had almost 700 shares, averaging around $45 per share. Great, now I just needed to wait. And again, Trump announced a new deal with both Eli Lilly and Novo, and the stock climbed up again. I actually still haven't sold the position. I actually expect to keep the position until I find a better opportunity or I need the money for the car. My last example is a perfect point of Peter Lynch's way of looking at companies. At a private gathering, I talked to some people mentioning that the banking world was in a turmoil and everyone was talking mergers, acquisitions. I looked at the players and concluded one of the banks would be a perfect fit for my dividend portfolio. And if something would happen and they were to merge, this would just be an extra upside. So I started buying back in 2024, not much, just enough to start a position. Every time I got paid from my day job, I invested some more in the company. My goal was to have a substantial position before they would pay out their 8% in dividends. I got the dividends, but I decided to wait until the stock price had recovered the dividend payment before I sold. Again, the rumors of mergers came up again. So I waited a bit, and then it happened. All of a sudden, the bank merged with a large competitor, and suddenly, my position had gained over 50%, on top of those 8% in dividends. Now I'm waiting to see what happens in 2026. If they continue to pay dividends, I will hold on to that position. This bank is called Sydbank, it's a large Danish bank, and the stock price today is around $85 per share. My cost basis is around $55. That's a pretty nice 50-51% gains, and 8% in dividends, so almost 60% in gains. Very nice. Please note, this is not to brag about gains or anything. This is merely to show you that it is possible to make trades that generate real return in a fairly short time period. And in my opinion, without the enormous risk of day trading and the excessive amount of time spent doing day trading. I actually think Novo Nordisk has room to move, and my guess is it will go at least to 450 Danish kroner, which is $70 per share, and it will be so before end of 2026. So mark my words, Novo, $70, end of 2026. And now I'm looking for the next one to invest in. But of course I have to sell one of my positions to do this. Or maybe I'll just buy that new car. Although I hate spending money, I have a perfectly running Toyota Corolla and it's only 10 years old. But again, Trump is actually a great help to traders as he keeps pouring gas on the fire and gives us one opportunity after another. Just look at the new cap on credit card fees that has been proposed. That just sent the big credit companies down a bit. American Express 7%, Bank of America down 5%, Citibank down 6%, and so on. And we will probably see some of Wall Street selling a bit more before buying back in. This gives us, with a time span of more than 5 minutes, an opportunity. And remember, it's just a 1-year cap on interest rates, so banks will still be raking in the money. Long term, there's no getting around of the financial institutions, no matter how flawed they are. The last couple of years, I have made a killing on my bank stocks. One is up 100%, another is up 50% in just 1 year. What about you? Have you thought about using a percentage of your portfolio for trading? I know most people have this itch to do something, and when the main portfolio is just lingering or maybe goes sideways, I need to do something. Let me know in the comments. And always remember, the best investment you can do is actually in you. The more you learn, the more you earn. Bye!
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I'll make mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the ninth inning, there ain't no point in resisting.